In gold country, the standard is uncommonly high. The hockey program at the University of Minnesota has been hanging banners since 1922. Conference champions in their first 8 seasons, the Gophers shared the national title with Yale back in 1929. In 1940, a team captained by John Mariucci ran the table, winning 18 consecutive games and the National AAU Championship. By the 1950s, Mariucci was behind the bench. John Mayasich was the best player in college hockey. And the Golden Gophers were on the doorstep twice, beaten both times in the finals of the NCAA tournament. Minnesota made the title game again in 1971, when a team that finished 5th in the conference nearly climbed to the postseason pinnacle, falling 2 goals shy of the championship. 2 years later, a coaching change changed the history of Golden Gopher hockey forever.
A lot of you people are really on the threshold of joining a very select fraternity of ex-Minnesota hockey players. Someone's going to wear that M. There's nothing in your life you'll find more proud, gentlemen. Let's get ready to go. Come on.
Hired in 1972, Herb Brooks held the reins for just 7 years. But his stay was a reign of dominance.
All right, way to go. Goal, we stuck it right to him. Stuck it to him. Way to go. Way to go, goal.
4 times the Maroon and Gold played for the Hardware. 3 times they took it home, winning national championships in 1974, 1976, and 1979. When Neil Broughton's goal for the ages against North Dakota completed the hat trick, Dynasty and Gopher hockey were synonymous. Surely those trophies would come now like clockwork, and great expectations followed the program like a shadow. For 2 decades, there was much to savor: All-Americans and record setters, McNaughton Cups, a new Mariucci Arena, and continual visits to the NCAA tournament. But for those counting national championships, the clock ran for 23 years and 14 days, through near misses in 1981 and again in 1989.
Pitlick moves into the zone. The starter the shot off the post, the rebound.
Until 9:34 on the night of April 6, 2002.
Back to the blue line for Leopold. Another shot deflected. It's loose in front. Potulny!
You know, no matter what happens for the rest of our lives, for one night in St. Paul, as a Gopher, we were national champions. And that's something that will hang in this rink forever. And if they build a new rink, it'll hang there. And it's unbelievable. It's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me.
The seeds of greatness are often sown in a field of disappointment. For the Golden Gopher hockey team, the ultimate victory over Maine took root a year earlier, in the first round of the NCAA tournament against those very same Black Bears. A Gopher lead vanished 3 seconds from victory.
Scores!
Their hopes were dashed in sudden death.
Robert Lischuk gives Maine a 5-4 overtime win.
We knew that we could have advanced, and we were really disappointed that we didn't advance in the NCAA tournament the year before. So I think in the locker room in Worcester, Massachusetts, a lot of people maybe had that really bad feeling in their stomach, and I think that carried over through the summer, and it allowed us to work really hard and get ready for this season.
I think it really helped. I mean, all the work that we put in the summers is a big key to our success, and I mean, hard work basically gets you everywhere, and I mean, everybody was dedicated last summer, and it showed in the end of the year.
Pumping iron and the perspiration from a torrid summer had the Golden Gophers primed for a marathon. Their focus was far-sighted, on an April trip to St. Paul and the path of least resistance to get there.
You know, right away at the beginning of the year, obviously Luch and the coaches kept stressing, you know, let's get that bye, let's get that bye. If we work towards that bye is huge. You know, we only got 1 game, get to the Final Four, and that's huge.
We were so excited to get going because it was so long. The summers, it's so hot. You're running in July, and you know, you can't wait to get back on the ice, and finally when you get the chance to get back, you know, it's exciting, it's great.
The excitement of opening night was enhanced by the grandest grand opening in the history of Grand Forks. North Dakota's new digs, the Ralph Engelstedt Arena, was center stage for the kickoff to the college hockey season. The Hall of Fame game featuring two fierce rivals. At the outset, the Sioux made their sellout crowd feel right at home, leading 4-2 after one period and 5-3 after two. But comebacks would become a Golden Gopher trademark.
It's in the net. It's a goal from Leopold.
Already a first-team All-American and a Hobey Baker finalist, Jordan Leopold set the tone. Scoring his second goal of the night before the third period was a minute old. In rapid succession, Minnesota turned the deficit into a maroon and gold surplus.
And it's Spalding, saved by Kohler, rebound and goal. Circles, waits, lines it up, lets it go. He scores! Ring around.
By the game's end, the Streamers were in sharp contrast to the outcome, and the silence in Grand Forks was golden.
It's their rink, and they've been talking about it forever and ever, about how it's going to be so great and so spectacular. And Engelstedt's coming, and he's bringing all these people with him. And, you know, we went in there and we rained on their parade, and that was greater than anything anyone or anybody could have said it was going to be.
And that just didn't happen very often, especially against North Dakota. Usually the tables were reversed when we went up there and they would have the big comeback. But I think that really set the tone and gave such a great feeling to our team and confidence that gave us a great start to the year.
With the North Dakota victory as a springboard, the Gophers opened their season nearly on pace with a golden oldie, the unbeaten, untied national champions of 1940. They did so with a game plan in goal. A preseason decision by head coach Don Lucia that put Ironman Adam Hauser in a timeshare with freshman netminders Travis Weber and Justin Johnson.
We had talked about what was going to happen. We had two new guys in. They needed to play some games because I'm not going to be here next year. But he did tell me that, you know what, we're going to treat it as we don't know who our goaltender is going to be come playoff time. So, I mean, I had that in the back of my head that, you know what, I really needed to work hard throughout the year. I couldn't take any time off, otherwise my job, it wouldn't be there when I was done.
In the opening weekends at Mariucci Arena, Hauser and Weber tag-teamed a sweep of Bemidji State.
Move in the slot and Weber makes the save.
And the senior and Justin Johnson co-authored back-to-back shutouts in a double-up over Colgate.
Oh, a hot glove catch by Johnson.
At the same time, the Golden Gophers were stand-up guys on the blue line and flyers up front.
Breezing in for the shot and a goal. Rejoins the rush as they bring it in. Riddle! Oh! Here's Pohl. Turns, Leopold. A goal! Jordan Leopold. Nice drop pass. Ballard fires a goal. Now Stevens right in front. A wide open net and a goal. Koalska on the far side. Johnny Pohl, who leads the nation in assists, gets another one as Leopold drives it in. Hauser has to play it. He shoots it ahead to Pohl. On the change, Pohl fires. A shot to goal for Johnny Pohl. And Adam Hauser will get an assist. What a pass. And the Gophers have a 5-1 lead.
The result was 10 victories and a tie in their first 11 games.
That first month was a big month for us. We didn't have the toughest schedule, but of course we had to come out and prove ourselves. And the schedule just works its way out, and we got a good draw for the first part of the year. I think it kind of gave us a little momentum and gave us some confidence. And for sure, we got to play everybody, and that was one of the things we needed to do is get everybody acclimated to the college game, especially the younger guys.
Those younger players were baptized even further on Thanksgiving weekend with a trip to Michigan for the College Hockey Showcase.
Moving in for goal. Keith Ballard.
Freshman defenseman Keith Ballard opened the scoring against the Wolverines, but this night belonged to a veteran.
Potulny to Taffe. Great. And a goal. Jeff Taffe.
Junior Jeff Taffe dedicated his offseason to the weight room. And in Game 1 of the showcase, Taffe did much of the heavy lifting, scoring his first collegiate hat trick in a 5-2 win.
Breakaway, going for three! Rebound to goal! Hat trick for Jeff Taffe!
I just had to kind of make an example for the young kids. I mean, they'd look at me and be like, oh, he doesn't ever go to the weight room, things like that. But if you show up every day and show them the little things, I mean, that's what wins championships right there.
The follow-up to the victory in Ann Arbor was a Sunday matinee in East Lansing, where Michigan State, like Michigan, was ranked nationally, and the Spartans had an ace in the hole. Ryan Miller, the goaltender who gloved the Hobie Baker Award in 2001. On an afternoon that was both fast and physical, Minnesota was resilient and opportunistic. Twice the Gophers scored on the power play, and 4 times they put the puck past Miller. With 2:09 to play, freshman Barry Tallackson tied the game at 4. When the showcase ended, the Maroon and Gold were still unbeaten through 13 games.
It was kind of a litmus test for our team and how we're going to be against some of the traditional powers across college hockey, and to go in and play, and as well as we did against Michigan, win 5-2, to come back and get the tie late in the game against Michigan State. We played extremely well in East Lansing to get that tie. So to come out of there with a win and a tie, I think sent a good message to our team about how good we have an opportunity to be this year.
Fueled by the second fastest start in school history, the Golden Gophers were briefly the answer to who's number one. But the weeks between Thanksgiving and Christmas brought out the heavyweights. 6 consecutive games were against teams in the top 10. 5 of those were on the road.
The middle of the schedule right after Thanksgiving time was tough. It was our big stretch. Our second half of the season was tougher than our first half, definitely. But you know, good teams got to beat great teams, and really we were a good team at the time. We weren't quite great yet, and it takes time and takes a little bit of you know, a little grit and a little extra work to become a great team.
Back in the point here. 12 seconds left. They center out a rebound.
Some true grit was ingrained on a Saturday night in St. Cloud when the Gophers came from 2 down to pull even.
The tape. Here's Leopold. Wrist shot. Jerrid Leopold with the wrist shot.
Another character test came 6 days later in Denver. In a December showdown that had a postseason feel, Minnesota built a narrow cushion on goals by Paul Martin and Erik Wendell. Adam Hauser put the deuce in the win column. Perfect for more than 50 minutes, Hauser stopped 30 of 31 shots as the Gophers gave the Pioneers their first loss in the WCHA, 2-1. Home for the holidays, the Maroon and Gold were solid gold as they hit the season's halfway point with a pair of non-conference victories in the Dodge Mariucci Classic.
Off the boards and into the slot. A great move for yes! And a shot to goal for Jeff Taffe.
The opener against Ferris State was complete with a comeback. Down 1 in the third period, Paul Martin scored the tying goal, then assisted Jeff Taffe on the game winner. The following night in the final against Providence, Minnesota was on track from the get-go.
Pad save, rebound goal! Barry Tallackson chips it in!
Tallackson's tally came at 1 minute even. By the end of the first period, the Gophers had Providence staring up at a 3-goal deficit.
Shallow angle and goal!
In the holiday spirit, Don Lucia toyed with his lineup for the Mariucci Classic. In a classic move, Taffe went from center to left wing on a line with John Pohl.
Gets us a rebound, shoot and score!
Pohl and Taffe collaborated for a 9-point tournament.
Here comes Taffe, the dish to Pohl, a shot to goal!
In the final, Pohl assisted on 2 goals and scored 2 himself.
Quick center, oh, beautiful, Pohl scores!
The senior from Red Wing got the MVP award. Late in the third period, freshman Judd Stevens got a keepsake, his first goal as a Gopher, and Minnesota dropped Providence 6-1. As the new year began, the Golden Gophers were on a conference call for 9 consecutive weekends, starting with a home date against North Dakota. In a rare Sunday night game with the Sioux, Jordan Leopold was dominant. Down 1-0 in the third, Leopold tied both the game and the school record for goals by a defenseman. With 1:34 to play, the record fell, and the Sioux did too.
You know, I didn't even realize that I got the record during the season. I wasn't worried about records. I wasn't worried about personal achievement. I was looking more for that team achievement, that team goal, which was to hang a banner, win some trophies, and do some things that a Gopher team hasn't done in a long time.
The road to get there had some heavy traffic. Timing, travel, and top-ranked Denver were all factors in a string of frustration Fridays as Minnesota skated through 5 straight weekends without a sweep.
It's just one of those things that we weren't even playing that hard, or it's just in the middle of the season, kind of you just get in the groove sometimes, and I think that's what was going on. But I think whenever we decided to turn it up and play, I think we were dangerous.
I don't know what was going on. It was a big mystery. We thought we worked hard all week in practice, but for some reason every Friday night we'd come out and kind of lay an egg, and we wouldn't play hard. And then every Saturday morning, coach would come into the meeting, yell a little bit, maybe make a few lineup changes, and we'd come out and play really well on Saturday.
And Saturdays became an ongoing example of the team's ability to bounce back. In Madison, Garrett Smaagaard's first collegiate goal was part of a 6-2 payback against the Badgers. In Anchorage, Jeff Taffe scored twice as Minnesota left the last frontier with 3 points out of 4. The flip side of the loss to Denver was a Mariucci blowout. Keith Ballard had back-to-back goals in a 6-1 thumping of the Pioneers. Then Minnesota's top 2 scorers, Pohl and Taffe, each assisted by Leopold, put the Gophers over the top in a third-period rally at UMD. The Maroon and Gold had weathered a mid-season storm without a 2-game losing streak.
Danny Welch came back at the semester in mid-January. I think the Denver series was his first weekend back, and it took him a while to get back into our lineup. Nick Anthony had a lot of injuries this year. So all of a sudden he came back, and I think it was a CC weekend in mid-February. So it wasn't until the mid to late February that we had our whole lineup. And Johnny Pohl literally put the team on his back the second half of the season. He was just on fire the second half of the season. Jeff Taffe was on fire, and between Taffe and Pohl and Leopold, they were really the catalyst for us down the stretch.
That stretch run was born where the season began, in Grand Forks, where the Golden Gophers hadn't swept since 1992.
Right up the side. Pat O'Leary steps it in for the goal.
The opening game hadn't hit the 3-minute mark before Pat O'Leary broke the ice. In the second period, the Gophers broke it open.
Right up the middle. A
A lead that was 4-1 after 2 became 5-2 with 5:40 to play.
nice pass ahead to Tallackson. Moving right in.
The Sioux pressurized the final minutes with a pair of late goals. But when Pohl filled the empty net, Minnesota had its first Friday win since the Mariucci Classic. The Saturday half of the North Dakota series would be a signature night for the Golden Gophers, but you wouldn't have known it from the outset.
Shoot and score!
Despite a first-period goal by Jake Fleming, the home team was comfortable and cruising, up 3-1 midway through the third. At 16:48, Pohl delivered again.
Leopold!
Suddenly it was 3-3, and the Sioux would have gladly settled for overtime. They never got there.
Riddle gets it, takes it away. He's covered by Schneider, 12 on the clock.
Actually, I got stuck on a line change. I was supposed to be off the ice, I think, and Riddle came out there, and he's working hard along the wall, and he threw the puck to the front of the net, made a nice play, and ended up with the puck on my stick, and I just threw it to the net and beat the North Dakota goaltender 5-hole, and that was an unbelievable feeling. I was more in shock when it happened, and I'd never scored a bigger goal in my life.
Quite a rally for the Golden Gophers!
I don't know, from right then and on, you could just tell that our team had it, had what it took to go all the way.
The Gophers are a perfect 3-0 here at the new Ralph Engelstad.
As the Maroon and Gold gathered momentum, John Pohl became the most prolific point getter in the country.
Pohl brings it in, back to Riddle, to the forehand, rebound, Pohl, a goal!
A playmaker at heart, Pohl was already a home state hero when he came to the university. A prep star at Red Wing, he was Mr. Hockey in 1998. 4 times he was All-State, and he finished his high school career as Minnesota's all-time leading scorer.
What a great backhand and a goal!
As a Golden Gopher, John was consistently productive, always steady, unselfish to a fault. As a senior with the end in sight, he was out of sight.
Pohl, Johnny Pohl from the slot, Minnesota up by a goal!
In a span of 11 games, Pohl scored 24 points.
We played really well coming down the stretch, and I was just fortunate to be one of the guys that got hot. I think my line mates got hot. I think Jordan was playing well. Adam was really playing well. So, you know, towards the end of the year, when your big-time players are stepping up and playing well, that's when the team really clicks.
In late February, the Golden Gophers clicked on a Saturday night against Colorado College. A 7-3 victory that finished a 6-point weekend for Pohl, a 7-pointer for Troy Riddle.
Troy Riddle, 5th point of the weekend!
The following weekend brought the home half of the Wisconsin border battle. In the opening game, a terrifying moment made the Mariucci crowd go silent. Sophomore defenseman Joey Martin suffered a concussion. He left the ice on a stretcher, but signaled to all that he would be okay. As play resumed, the Gophers got clinching goals from Dan Welch, Matt DeMarchi, and Nick Anthony to beat the Badgers 6-3.
Second effort gets it in!
On Saturday, they went for the sweep.
We needed a sweep, and we really did. And, you know, we pulled her out, but it wasn't easy.
In fact, it went to overtime.
Leopold, one-man pass, lines it up, he scored! Jordan Leopold! Incredible!
The Maroon and Gold closed the regular season in a home-and-home series against St. Cloud State.
Potulny, a shot to go!
A double date that had little impact on the league standings, but was vital to both their postseason confidence and their postseason seed.
For Tallackson, going, stuffing, goal! Tallackson!
In the first 22 minutes, the Gophers hung a 5 spot on the Huskies.
Angell, one-timer, goal! Mickey Angell with a blast!
5-4 winners on Friday. Minnesota finished the regular season with a flourish. In the second period, Matt Koalska and Paul Martin scored 97 seconds apart.
Paul Martin!
The 3-1 victory was highlighted, too, by John Pohl's 23rd goal of the season and by Adam Hauser, who made 25 saves. Now the school record holder in shutouts, games played, and games won, Hauser was at the top of his game for the upcoming playoffs.
We didn't want to play Adam every game, and had we played Adam probably every game in January, we might have won a couple more games, but we might have lost at the end of the year because we wanted him mentally and physically rested for March, because everything we did all year was pointed to the end of the year. And so part of our plan was to make sure he was rested and ready to go, and I think Adam played as good a hockey as he did in his career in the playoffs this year.
With the Frozen Four just 4 weeks away, the Golden Gophers took their first postseason step against North Dakota in round 1 of the WCHA playoffs.
Great pass! Shot in the goal!
In the opener, they made it look easy.
Rebound to Pohl! A shot in the goal!
A team that was peaking in prime time took the Sioux apart, scoring 6 unanswered goals.
Now to Taffe, the backhand, a goal!
With a 7-2 win, Minnesota was now just a victory away from the WCHA's Final 5. The clincher came the following night in a playoff sequel that was the dramatic opposite of the original.
Chance in front, Rory McMahon, shot in the goal!
With the Sioux fighting for their postseason lives, the Gophers took the lead on second period goals by Dan Welch
Rebound, goal!
and Jordan Leopold.
Thing of beauty! Where's the music? Oh. There's a lot of dancing going on, Frank.
Jeff Tape notched his 31st goal at 7:21 of the third, but North Dakota answered every setback with a counterpunch, and the teams went to overtime tied at 3.
The Fighting Sioux have tied it!
The extra session alone was worth the price of admission. Nearly 19 minutes of hockey at high speed. It ended, finally, at 18:36 on a heads-up play by Keith Ballard.
Ballard bringing it in, Koalska to the net, the loose puck, Ballard! Backhand to the goal!
It was really a harmless play. I mean, I threw the puck on net from the blue line, and Matty Koalska and Barry Tallackson were going hard to the net, so they took everybody with them, and I ended up with the puck on my stick, and wide open net.
Gophers win, they're going to St. Paul!
The Golden Gophers' drive to destiny took them next on a 9-mile bus ride to the Excel Energy Center in St. Paul for a Final 5 rematch with St. Cloud State. In a dress rehearsal for the Frozen Four, the fans filled it up, more than 18,000 strong. The Maroon and Gold partisans got the party started.
Rebound up the net!
The Gophers took the Huskies down 1 by 1. A goal in the first by Leopold, another in the second by Troy Riddle. In the opening minute of the third,
Taffe shot and a goal!
Taffe made it 3-0 Minnesota. When Matt Koalska cashed in on a power play, the Huskies were headed home, falling to the Gophers 4-1.
This year we got them twice and then beat them in the Final Five, and I think the guys are really confident after we did that, because that was one of the teams that we've been struggling with lately. And after we beat them those 3 times in a row, I think our team really knew how good we were and what we were capable of.
And their confidence had been growing for weeks. In a string of 9 games, the Golden Gophers lost just once, to Denver in the Final Five. But even then, they got what they wanted, a number 2 seed and a first-round bye for the NCAA playoffs.
You don't want to lose, but there was some good after effects to that. And we were able to sit down and relax again and know that, you know what, we're not superhuman.
Kind of gave us a wake-up call there a little bit, and it's a great thing that happened. Obviously, losses are never good, but it helped our team, you know, think about that we're not the best out there, and we got some work to do still.
The job site for the West Regional was Ann Arbor, Michigan, where the bye put Minnesota in a quarterfinal matchup with Colorado College. A bad bounce put the Gophers in an early hole.
We had a little bit of a sluggish start, which happens a lot to the team that has the bye. The team that wins has a little bit of momentum early in the game, and then the bye team seems to get stronger as the game went on.
Before the first period ended, the Gophers pulled even. Most of the second period belonged to the maroon and gold. Nick Angell's power play goal pushed the Gophers in front. In a span of 58 seconds, they scored again. CC cut it to 3-2. And early in the third period, the Tigers had the man advantage. But their power play was short-circuited by Johnny Pohl.
I just saw their defenseman was about to pass the other defenseman. I think he was trying to set up one time, he didn't pass very hard. For some reason, I just got a good jump on it, and I just poke checked it by him, and I went in, and I just went to my back, and I didn't do anything special, but the goalie couldn't get there, and it was a big goal.
Great players make great plays, and that shorthanded, he intercepted that pass and had the breakaway, but the key is he scored on the breakaway. He didn't miss that opportunity. That was a goal we needed. That was a cushion that we needed to propel us to St. Paul.
The 2-week buildup between the quarterfinals and the Frozen Four gave the Gopher Nation ample time to reflect and reminisce on 80 years of Pride on Ice and the unique history of a program that 3 times took a roster of native sons to the national championship.
Right in front of goal! Potulny!
With a salute to the past and an eye to the future, Don Lucia broke from tradition 2 years ago when he recruited Grant Potulny, a player from Grand Forks who became the first non-Minnesotan to wear the M since 1987.
We just felt that it was important for our program, if we want to compete with the Michigans and the Michigan States and the BUs and the BCs and Maine, that we can't close the door. Times have changed, and I just think it's important that you do change with the times, or you're going to fall behind. And I don't think there's one person in this state that worries about whether Grant Potulny was from Grand Forks or East Grand Forks. That he's a Gopher, and he's made everybody that's a Gopher fan proud.
Leopold from behind the net. Right in front for Potulny. A shot to go.
You know, I talked to a lot of people, and they said, you know, you ready for this? Because this is going to be a big deal, and it's not going to be just about hockey. It's going to be about where you're from, what are you doing. You know, it's going to be a microscope on you. And, you know, I was ready for it, and it didn't bother me. You know, this is the place I wanted to be. And, you know, all that stuff would blow over, and it has, I think.
And a goal by Minnesota.
The non-Minnesotan quickly made his birthplace a non-issue. As a freshman, Potulny led the nation in power play goals, the Gophers with 5 game winners. And his style of play was a fan favorite.
Grinding, mucking, battling, fighting. I'm not going to go up and down the rink and beat people one-on-one or, you know, razzle-dazzle the goalie. I'm just going to grind you and, you know, wear you down.
Potulny's blue collar would be a perfect fit for the brightest spotlight in college hockey, the Frozen Four at the Xcel Energy Center in St. Paul. On April 4th, more than 19,000 spectators packed the X for the national semifinals against Michigan. Maroon and gold was everywhere.
I feel sorry for the other teams. It was a pretty hostile environment. You know, we'd step onto the ice and they'd go crazy, and as soon as the other team step out, their cheer shifted to boos right away. And it was a great feeling to know that many people are behind you.
Minnesotans were poised for a championship, but the dance here was a two-step.
For 2 weeks, you know, we'd bring our players in, are we playing for a national title? Yeah, we're going to play for a national title. And as coach, we said, no, we're not playing for a national title. We're playing for an opportunity to play for one, and the Michigan game was going to be critical.
His players got the message. At 4:20 of the opening period, Potulny drew first blood.
Oh, now that's a foul. Oh, rebound, Potulny.
It was me and a guy from Michigan, and it was a battle for the puck. And whoever was going to win the battle was going to get the puck. And, you know, I had the goalie was out of the net, and, you know, I won the battle and the puck and went right in the net. It was great.
In the second period, Potulny doubled up, this time on a power play.
Takes a shot, releases, it's score! Potulny, his second goal of the game!
But that was like last year, you know. Leopold would wiggle across the line, throw it on net, and I tried to get my big paddle on the puck and redirect it somewhere in the net.
For 2 periods, the Wolverines were held at bay as Minnesota had balance on both ends of the ice. A deuce on the scoreboard, while Adam Hauser was hanging zeros.
Now a breakaway from Michigan, going in the shoot, right on, and Hauser coming up with a perfect save off of the dangerous Mike Camilleri.
As the third period began, the Golden Gophers hit the trifecta.
There's a breakaway, Tate going in, he shoots!
In the final minutes, the Maroon and Gold survived a desperate rush by Michigan, but 2 goals were too little, too late.
The Gophers are going to the national championship. This is a team of destiny. They're in the national championship for the first time in 13 long years. Whoa,
By now, new chapters of this remarkable odyssey were written daily. On the Friday between the semifinals and the final, the Hobey Baker Award came home.
And the winner is Jordan Leopold, University of Minnesota.
Jordan Leopold's place in Gopher history was secured long ago. From Golden Valley, the Minnesota captain's stellar career was a steady climb from Rookie of the Year to All-WCHA. Twice he was named the league's Defensive Player of the Year. Twice he was an All-American. And twice he was a finalist for the Hobey. Now he joins Neil Broughton, Rob Stauber, and Brian Bonnen on the select list of Golden Gophers to be honored as the best player in college hockey.
You know, I grew up watching these guys. That's the funny part. I mean, maybe not Neil, but I mean, I watched Neil when he's playing with the North Stars. And heck, you talk about guys you watch and you grow up with, and then you throw your name in with their names, and it's unrealistic in a way. It's surreal.
He does so many little things so good. That's what people don't notice. You can see him, you know, he shoots the puck well, he skates well, and he defends well, but he does so many little things with his stick, you know, knocking guys' hands off pucks, making passes that, you know, would be really hard for a good player. He makes them look easy.
Strong, he's smart, he's an unbelievable skater. His skating is so underrated. I mean, he's deceptively fast and deceptively strong. Like I said, I don't think he ever gets knocked down. He's always on his feet, always moving, always in the play. Like, I mean, I wish I could tell you one thing he doesn't do well, but there is. I mean, he pretty much does it all.
It's funny, I'm like, what do you do when you score? And he's like, I just shoot the puck, you know? And that's his great comment by him too, because I mean, knowing him, he didn't really know who was in net, what happened. I mean, he's out there to win games for us and help us out, and he's a great leader, and he's an unbelievable player.
Leopold waits. Now he shoots.
I've learned a lot about the way how mellow he is. He's really laid back when it comes to everything. But on the ice, he takes it very seriously, and it's really awesome to see him, you know, winning all these awards and setting records and doing that, and he deserves all that. And I can't wait to see him at the next level.
We call him Bob Vila, because he's a guy that can change your oil, build a cabinet,
They got a lot of tools in there. I'm the tool man of the house.
He builds things out of sticks. He surround sounds our plays.
I just put this nice ceiling fan in, probably, 2-3 months ago.
He's just a handyman.
Leopold lifts one to the roof for a goal.
It's not only just hockey, but just off the ice. He's just a great guy. He helps. I mean, you can ask him anything. He's just laid back and just a big dork.
Here's Leopold. This shot.
For all the success, all the honors he has had, and all the honors that he's going to have in the future, like, he's got the best head on his shoulders. I mean, he could be, if anybody in the country, I think, has the right to be cocky and has the right to, have a big head, it's Jordan. But, you wouldn't know he's a superstar of the team. So that's awesome. That's the best thing that I think anyone can, say about Jordan is like nothing goes to his head at all.
Leopold, a one-timer and a goal! Jordan Leopold!
With the Hobie in hand, Leopold and the Golden Gophers were now chasing that one last piece of hardware.
Welcome aboard for the national title.
The championship game against Maine, the team that ended their season a year earlier, had storylines across the board. The Black Bears were playing for their head coach, Sean Walsh, who died in the fall of cancer. In the Minnesota camp, the echoes had been heard for 23 years. The team's rallying cry all season long was, "Not since 1979, it's time." For inspiration, the Gophers would look no further than Rob Stauber, the goalie coach who was in the nets in 1989 when the dream of a lifetime was lost in overtime. For added zip, they just had to look up at a standing room sea of maroon and gold that was about to explode.
With the Sean Walsh thing, with us being at home, playing for the title in front of 19,000, plus everybody watching, it was a storybook game. And, the emotion was so thick you could cut it. And when we went out there, the fans went nuts, and it was just electric.
In the din of the Excel, the Golden Gophers were prepared to go the distance.
For the previous 6 years, a national title game has gone in overtime. Expect it. Expect the game to be decided in the third period. Expect it to go in overtime. You're playing against a great team. It's going to be a tight game. We always talk about, I use the boxing analogy, you have to be able to take a punch. It's a 15-round fight. There's going to be rounds that they win, and there's going to be rounds that we win.
By the opening face-off, the pressure cooker was at full boil. At 7:18 of the first period, the deafening crowd got louder.
Down to the corner for Riddle to Ballard. He scores!
Individual thrill, it doesn't get any better than that to score a goal, and especially in St. Paul with all our fans just going crazy. It was unbelievable.
The Maroon and Gold nursed their 1-0 lead into the second period. At 4:47, Maine pulled even, but its momentum lasted for only 51 seconds.
Here comes Pohl from Minnesota. Wrist shot. He scores!
All about momentum. Momentum is so much in hockey. And for us to, kill their momentum right away by a goal, that was huge.
Large enough to send the Gophers to the locker room with a 2-1 lead. But the third period opened with a bounce for the Black Bears. Tied with nearly 19 minutes to play, this championship game evolved into a classic. Energized by the change on the scoreboard, Maine became the aggressor, gunning 16 shots at Adam Hauser. At 15:27, the Black Bears scored.
When they scored that last goal, I got sunk. It was just something like, oh no, we can't lose this here in our backyard with all these people watching. I mean, the tradition, everything that's coming in, it's been a long time. Everyone's expecting us to win.
It was pretty funny. I remember sitting next to Jeff Taffe on the bench, and he just kind of started laughing. And I was like, and he put a smile on my face because he goes, that's no big deal. And that's the kind of attitude we had.
When they scored that go-ahead goal there, I think, you sit back and you're like, wow, it can't be happening again like last year. But at the same time, we got a great group of guys. Nobody's ever going to give up in the locker room until the last buzzer sounds.
On the Minnesota bench, the clock seemed to move at warp speed. With 59 seconds left, Don Lucia called timeout.
With about 3 minutes to go, I told Bob Motzko, my assistant, to have a face-off play ready for as we get into the last minute, and he went over it with me, and then I told him to go, explain it to our players, but it ended up being a broken play like it usually is.
I think I'm a pretty upbeat and pretty positive guy, but I was really sad. I thought we had lost it. I was kicking myself. I just remember thinking, I'm like, how can we let all these people down? How can we come this far and not win? But I remember before we were about to go out for the face-off, Keith Ballard skated by and he said, let's get everybody to stay together, which we've said all year. And So everybody kind of came in. We said 1, 2, 3, let's get this. 1, 2, 3 together.
You know, it was me, Johnny, and Troy, and Jordan, and Jeff, and Paulie, and obviously Johnny would take the draw.
Koalska and Riddle in the slot.
And it started just a little scrum, and everybody was kind of all over the place, and I was just kind of on the outskirts, and just maybe hoping the puck would pop out to me, and it did, and I shot it.
Here's a shot. They
I remember watching the thing go right into the net, right through his legs as I was right there, and Matty taking off to the bench. I was trying to catch him so fast, and oh man, just talking about it right now it gives me shivers.
Koalska ties it up!
I think it was fitting that he scored that tying goal because he was probably our best player in that game and maybe in the Frozen Four, even though he didn't score a lot of points. He was just a real dominant player all weekend long.
Officially, the time of the goal was 19:07. Magically, the Gophers had made it to overtime.
I remember coach coming in, let's change our undergarments here, try to be fresh, and it was funny because last year, when we lost to Maine, he came in between the overtimes. He goes, let's change our undergarments, and he never did that all year. And then he came in again this year when we were playing Maine in overtime, and he goes, let's change our undergarments, and I go, well, does anybody remember what happened last year when we changed our undergarments?
But this time they came out with an S on their chest.
You really could paint the better picture. I mean, everyone erupted when we scored a goal in the third period to tie the game up, and then in overtime, they played a great overtime.
Clearly refreshed, the Golden Gophers were back on their game, holding the territorial edge through 15 minutes of sudden death that was fever pitch and played without a whistle. The break came at 15:58.
It's a judgment call by the referee, and normally you expect the referees to kind of hide their whistles and leave them in there, but you can't go forever without a penalty, and really what happened was Koalska was coming up the ice, and their defenseman, I don't know who it was maybe looking for the big hit, and Koalska sidestepped him a little, and he knew he was missing the big hit, and if he wouldn't have got a piece of him, it's probably a breakaway.
2 minutes for tripping.
I think it should have been called. Obviously if I would have got around him, I think we had a 2-on-1 with Tallackson, so I mean, that's if you're calling overtime. It's one of those things where you don't want to call him, you don't want to make the calls, but it was lucky I got my head up there in the last second there, and kind of dipsy-doodle around him, and then he kind of stuck his leg out.
A hockey program that waited 23 years and 14 days for a national championship waited one more minute.
Tate now picks up the loose puck on the right wing wall.
Jeff made a good one-on-one move and got around the guy and got it to Leo, and Leo went right across the line, threw it on net, and Johnny redirected the puck into their defense, and when the puck came down, it went right to my stick, and the goalie was fooled, and I just swung at it.
Shot deflected, it's loose in front. Potulny!
I knew the puck was going in even before the light went on. It was one of those things where you saw Grant going crazy, you saw the fans behind him going crazy, and I guess you had to go crazy yourself.
I was so happy I actually choked myself trying to get my helmet off quick enough, and I forgot my chin strap was on. It's one of those moments where it seemed as one big family, everybody in that arena, because we all wanted the same thing, and it's an unbelievable feeling, and I don't think people are going to realize for 20 or so years, I mean, what actually that game meant.
15th goal of the season on the power play, number 18, Grant Potulny. Assisted by number 9, Johnny Pohl. Yes. And number 3, Jordan Leopold.
It's perfect. The two guys that we rolled their backs all year, they carried us to this point, and it's fitting for them to be in on the goal.
Oh my goodness.
About a minute after the goal went in, everybody was sitting around, still in main zone, and we all were hugging and smiling, and you could just see pure joy and just pure happiness on everyone's face. And I think everyone felt good for their teammates. Everybody was happy for their teammates, and I don't think you can find that in many other programs. When we stood around that circle and saluted, we saluted the fans, but I think we also saluted each other, and we just said thanks to each other. I mean, we had a great group of guys, and the friendships and the hard work that we put in and the friendships we made, it all paid off in the end, and it was all worth it.
When it was over, 2 games against Maine became bookends for the Golden Gophers. The first provided motivation. The second, a lifetime of memories. Those lasting images of Minnesota on top of the mountain. In between, the guys who wore the M came together as partners, brothers, and friends.
I'm going to remember the guys on the team, the guys I was sitting next to, the guys who I put the M on for. And those are the greatest memories. It's the guys around the locker room. going out and practicing hard every day and hanging out off the rink, and remember for the fans and how great they were and how much support they gave us and my family. It was just unbelievable.
Obviously, I'm going to think of the game, but I'm going to think more of all the friendships I built here, all the good times we had. Maybe not even necessarily on the ice, to be honest with you, because we come here every day for a few hours and we do this. But I think I'm going to remember all the good times I had with all the guys, just little stuff in the locker room, all the little jokes and all the good stories we've had, and all the good buddies and just the time we had here. I think I'll remember that more.
We were lucky. We won in overtime. 1989, they were unlucky they didn't win in overtime. It doesn't make me any smarter today than I was, a month ago or 5 years ago. But we were fortunate enough to get it done, and now you never have to hear that as a coach that, he's a good coach, but he's never been able to win the national title. I'm just so happy for our players. They are the ones that worked so hard and believed, and were a team, and I think that's what made this year special, because they really were a team.
You can win another national championship, but I can't win another national championship on a Gopher team in St. Paul. And that's going to be the toughest thing to top it. We can win 3 more the next 3 years, and we'll make a dynasty here at the University of Minnesota, but this specific one I think it's unbeatable.
Pride, knowing that you're going to have 27 best friends for the rest of my life, and knowing that I was a part of something that made history. It's really overwhelming. It really is overwhelming. University of Minnesota, what we do for a national championship, and we finally got one.
15, 20 years down the line, I was thinking what we did. When we come back, hopefully you will have a reunion party for us, and we'll come back, and it'll be great to relive it all, maybe we'll get to see Grant score again, and Grant will be there, he'll be 45 years old, and we'll kind of laugh about it, and it'll just be great to see the guys again after a long time, and just relive everything that went on for that week in St. Paul.
I wasn't even born when the last championship was won here, and it really seems weird to say that, but it's true. It has been a long time for this university to have a national championship, and it's one of those things that I'll never forget for the rest of my life, and I'll cherish it. And it's mine to remember, and everybody else in the state and everybody that's a Gopher fan will remember it for the rest of their life. So these guys that I play with have been like brothers to me, and really it's one big family, and we're kind of a big family for life now. Everybody does have a part in every championship that's up there, because it wasn't just us who paved the way, it was the guys before us and the people that played the first game for the U and continued the tradition that is the reason why we're here and why we have a banner in the ceiling. And there's a lot of people that supported me, and I'd just like to say thank you. And it's been a great season, and we came home with 2 pieces of hardware.
Picks up the loose puck on the right wing wall. Back to the blue line for Leopold. Another shot deflected. It's loose in front. Potulny!